Hello and welcome to my new video. Today we will print from 500T Kodak motion film, and I will use classical RA4 process to doing that. Let's start with the loading of the negatives. I store all my negatives in an archival way, and I never store them in rolls, so they always flat and they always ready to print. Usually my negatives is dust free, but my room definitely is not, so usually I apply dust blower to remove the particle of dust, and sometimes I'm using anti-static gun to remove the static electricity from my negatives. I will start focusing with the Patterson focus tool, and usually on these negatives it's really hard to find the dye clouds because they're really small. On the next step I want to find the magnification what I want to enlarge my negative to. I'm using pre-cut 20 by 25 paper, so usually this is my size to go. But today I want to keep the borders of the negative and print it a little bit smaller than the paper. To test the exposure, I'm using test printer, and this device is crazy simple and crazy useful in the same time. And usually in the 3-second interval I'm closing the windows and I will have full range of exposure on top of my negative. And because I roughly know the corrections what I want to use, I will develop it with the settings 60, 60 and 20 in the cyan channel on f11 and see how it looks like. I'm using simple 2-bath kit with the Adox chemistry for RA4. I'm using simple version of this RA4 chemistry, and solution A is the color developer and solution B it's a bleach fix. And by the experience I find out that 45 seconds what is written in the manual is not really sufficient, so I overshoot it a little bit and develop it for 1 minute straight. I prepare the timer, and before I pour the liquid inside, I have a cup in a lid, and when I put the drum in a horizontal position, development will start. I really like this cup method inside the drum, which is handy and you basically can count immediately after you rotate the drum in a horizontal position. The positive side of this method, you don't create the smell in the room, which can happen in an open chemistry, especially if you're using color one, RA4 or especially C41. It's quite neat and tight, and you just need the gloves, any type of gloves actually. And in any case, you have a bucket of water in front of you and you can dip your hands just in case if you have spilled something on your gloves. Unfortunately, my test strip was fogged back in the day, so I reprinted, and on the next one I have a good result. Maybe not the perfect, and maybe I'm not completely in the range of the exposures what I want to see. But I will set up timer for 5 seconds and put F11, and from there we will start to work on our final print. If you don't really have any problems with your film development, so if your film was developed properly and in specs, usually you don't really need to make any corrections on your paper and paper prints, so you can go with the standard settings, and usually for my enlarger, for example, it's 6060, and because I know this is a tungsten film, I usually drop 20 adjustments in the cyan channel. And also what I like about this type of printing, it doesn't create this kind of a strange cyanish tint as you have in the digital scans. It's especially noticeable with the Kodak 500T film. It looks more organic, it looks more natural, and you don't really have this kind of a strange problem. And I think the worst thing what can happen with the film, if you scan it and your reds is off, so in this case the reds, it's actually translated to the cyan channel. It all depends on your light source, so be careful with the scanning, and especially on these types of films. I think that's it for today. As always, you can support my channel on my Ko-fi in a link down below, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.